We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live podcast. Don't wait to be great. I am your host, Mr. Derrick Forster, and I'm super excited. As many of you know, that we're fresh off of our 2024 ILF conference. So if you're coming into this room or you're here and you're looking to start your own housing program, and you ever thought about starting a group home or an assisted living facility, we have something that's actually a little bit better, and it's called shared housing, or something that we actually trademark, and it's called independent living facilities. And that is simply an environment where adults are able to live and thrive without the need for staff and or medical oversight. So we like to call it the cheat code to starting your own housing program. Because again, most of you have always thought of starting a group home or some kind of housing program, but you thought it needed a license. You thought you had to go and get permission from your state. You thought that you had to jump through all of these hula hoops and get a fire extinguisher system and all of this stuff. But that is not what we're doing here. So again, guys, I'm Derrick Forster. I'm from Forster Consultants. And again, my family and I, man, we've been given the charge and the assignment to go all over the world, showing people how to start this housing program and that it doesn't require a license. You don't have to own the property. And again, that was one of the biggest cheat codes for me. So again, if you love God, love people, and love real estate, you're in the right place. And again, we're going to do a little bit of our 2024 ILF Conference Recap. We had an amazing event. As soon as we get enough people in the room, I'm actually going to probably talk a lot more about that. I'm actually going to probably be pulling some people up. So if you're here and you came to that event, let me know, shout me out in the chat. I want to know about it. But again, guys, every year, once a year, we have what we would call an independent living facility conference. And that took place literally just this past weekend. And man, we had a fabulous time. And I want you guys to follow me on social media. So my production team is going to be putting out a lot of pictures over the next couple of weeks and months of all of the footage that we had, because this was a 2-day event. And again, if you ever desire to house the homeless and the displaced, but you had no clue where to start, God bless you, because today we're going to be talking about that. And hopefully you follow us every Monday, every Tuesday, and every Saturday. So we're live every week, 3 days a week. The only time that we haven't went live on a Monday was literally yesterday. And because we were just so tired, kind of just getting back our strength from the event. If you guys know anything about throwing an event, boy, it's a lot that goes into that. So 5 months of advertising and blood and sweat and tears to put on an absolute great event. So again, I'm just super proud and just want to thank everybody that showed up, right? Everybody that purchased the ticket. Miss Nikki, I see you here. Thank you so much. Heard that you and my mom kind of talked a whole lot, and y'all exchanged numbers and all of that. Mom Forston poured into a lot of people. Thank you to every attendee. Thank you to every person that showed up as a speaker. And just thank you to everybody. Samara, I see you down there in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Everybody that came to that event, man, they were poured into. It was a 5-star event. And if I'm lying, y'all put it in the chat. But we absolutely gave a 5-star event. And then on day 2, we did the actual tour at the ILF, where we literally showed people the concept, as we like to call POC, the proof of concept, in terms of what is an independent living facility and how do you start it, right? We also let them get a chance to speak to somebody that not only who we took from homeless to hopeful, but somebody that used to be a civil engineer that made 6 figures at one point in their life. And then, like, can happen to any of us, life hit this gentleman. But through our programming, through our housing, we showed these people, our elite and VIP folks, how we're able to take people from homeless to hopeful. And we showed them the proof of concept. Because, Harry, it's one thing to run your mouth and talk about this, but boy, when you can show people and they can smell it, feel it, and touch it, that's what meant a lot to a lot of you all. And if I'm wrong about that, you all tell me that too. So again, just big shout out to everybody that came. And Shay, if you're in the room, and I think you are, let's go ahead and send out a few of those invites. Anybody that wants to speak on the behalf of the event, what was your experience? What was your takeaways? We want to spend a little time doing that. But what I specialize in, guys, is teaching this model. So again, if you're joining us for the first time, we actually got a free gift for you to continue your learning and education. So if you would text the word new, N-E-W, to 407 326 0086. And again, you text the word new to 407 326 0086. My team and I have a free gift for you, just to say thank you for being here, but to also to continue your education in terms of what is this model. And Derrick, why and how can I do this model and not need a license? How is it different from the group home in the ALF? So again, that's what we specialize in, but I absolutely want to give some invites out to anybody that came to the event that want
Hey, Derek.
maybe their input, their takeaways, and I also want to honor all of the new people. I put a lot of messages just here recently in a group that I'm in, so I'm expecting a lot of new people that don't know what this concept is. So if you guys have questions or concerns, I also want you to type your questions in the chat so that I can make sure that I'm answering every question that you guys have tonight in terms of what is an ILF, how do you get started, why don't we need a license? Why don't we have to own the property? And how is it different from the traditional group home? Miss Shay, you have something?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. This is Shay Forston, president and founder of the Angela Denise Foundation, a local 501c3. Also, the co founder here at Forston Consultants and expert consultant on all things independent living facility and nonprofit. So, I just wanted to give a quick heads up for those that are wanting to come to the stage. If you can go ahead and just type in the chat stage, and I will go ahead and send you the link so that you can come into the StreamYard studio. So just do that for me and I will get those links set out, Derek.
Absolutely. Good stuff. Good stuff. So again, welcome one and welcome all. My name again is Derrick Forston, the owner and operator of Forston Consultants, where my family and I, we go all over the world teaching this model. This is called independent living facilities. And watch this though. I'm gonna start coaching right now. Don't get so caught up on what these are called. Most importantly, it's called a shared living environment. We just happen to trademark independent living facility, which is an ILF for us. And an ILF is the exact opposite of a traditional group home or an ALF, an assisted living facility. This does not require a license. We don't have to own the property, and I don't need no permission from my state, right? The only requirement for this is a big heart for people and the love for God and some patience. Because essentially, guys, what we're doing is, I'll admit, we're renting rooms to people. The only thing that makes this different between me and some guy that only rents rooms or some guy that has a boarding house or a rooming house, we actually have rules and structure. So it's very similar to how the makeup is of your traditional group home, but it doesn't require all of the licensures and all of that aggravation and hassle from your state. So again, an ILF, or this shared model that we're going to discuss tonight, we are essentially renting rooms to people, but we have rules, structure, and we do it from more of a program base. I'm not some guy that just rent rooms. Otherwise, I would have just done this in my own name, Derrick Forston. But as a company and as a business and as a program that's changing lives in the community through housing, my program is called Second Chance Housing. So I'm not just some guy named Derrick that's housing people. We're more of a program that is changing lives in the community through real estate. That's the difference in what we're doing. So right off the bat, when people say, well, Derrick, what makes you guys different and why don't I need a license? Remember the ILF, the most important letter, Miss Murray, in that whole acronym is the I. I means they're independent, which means I don't cook my guys' bologna sandwich, I don't drive them around, and I don't provide medication management. Those are the three things that can get you in trouble doing this. Okay, so just really quickly before we go any further, what makes this different is that we're not administering medications. I'm not feeding people. I'm not driving people around in a 15 passenger van. I'm not doing any of that. We are starting a shared housing program for independent adults that are able to live and thrive. Thrive means do well without my help. Guys, I'm responsible for the roof over their heads. My job is to make sure that roof ain't leaking, no rats and roaches are in this place, the plumbing works, and we're presenting a nice environment for our people. So you're going to hear me probably say a couple times tonight that this isn't rocket science, guys. This is literally taking a one asset, meaning a 1 4-bed, 2-bath home, a 3-bed, 2-bath home. Guys, it could be a 2-bed, 1-bath. And we're going to take people from homeless to hopeful. And again, these are not group homes. These are not independent living facilities. These are ILFs. These are shared living environments. And again, this is where adults can live and thrive without the need for staff and or medical oversight. And the first steps to getting started to all of this is our webinar. Our webinar, after watching it, gives you a free strategy call with me. That means I want to talk to you on the phone and talk about how can we get you started in terms of where you live at. So the first step again is that webinar, and we'll put that in the chat as well. But I'll give you a quick cheat code to get that just real quick too. If you text the phrase more info to 407 326 0086, my team will immediately send you the information for the webinar. You watch that webinar later on with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and then schedule a call with me to see how can we get you started. Then I want you guys to be nosy right here on this YouTube channel and come back and soak up all of this free information. As you're going to see tonight, we give this game away. We got coaching plans and I got coaching products and all of that. But I made a promise to God over 8 years ago. God, if you let me get in this game and quit my job doing this, resign my job doing this, God, I go all over the world teaching it and I'll never take any credit. So you're going to hear me say several times today that I'm not the smartest guy in the classroom. I don't take credit for any of this. And when you watch that webinar, you're going to find out that I saw a lady making $41,000 a month doing this. But y'all, she was housing people in rats and roaches. So when I saw that, all we did was put our spin on it, and we do it the right way now. So make sure you scan these QR codes and follow us on YouTube. Make sure you also watch that webinar, because that webinar gives you, again, that free call with me. And again, my job is to make sure that you understand by the time we hang up that phone, that you know which direction you're headed into. Because put a number 7 in the chat if you've always wanted to do this, but you thought you needed a license. You thought you had to own the property. You thought you had to get permission from your state. Put a number 7 in the chat if you was like me over 8 years ago and people lied to you and told you it was impossible. But now today we're in 34 states and we have over 360 ILFs through this coaching model. Put a number 7 in the chat one more time if you thought you needed a license to house the homeless and the displaced. If you've ever imagined of starting your own housing program, there is no reason that after we're done here tonight that you shouldn't go to forstonconsultants.com/webinars and watch the webinar, guys, because a lot of you have wanted to start a group home or traditional assisted living facility, but that stuff takes license. It takes a lot of time to open. There's a lot of red tape to jump through. You have to ask for permission. We teach you guys how to open an ILF, an independent living facility, where you can house the homeless, displaced adults, or anybody that has a guaranteed income, and it doesn't require a license, and you don't have to own the property. Make sure you watch that free webinar at forstonconsultants.com/webinars, and then set up a free strategy call so that me and my team can get you started. Let's get back to the show. All right, let's jump back into it. So again, guys, make sure you scan that QR code. Watch that webinar, guys. Go ahead and do that now. Either scan that or text more info to 407 326 0086. That way you'll just have it in your text message and watch it later. Pay attention now, but watch that webinar tonight with your business partner, your family, your pastor, your congregation. And let's talk about how we can solve this affordable housing thing with this model. Because again, if you love God, love people, and love real estate, this is it. And one more time, these are called ILFs, but more importantly, this is a shared living environment. And this is simply what it looks like. So it can be a regular 3-bed, 2-bath, 4-bed, 2-bath. And most importantly, the inside looks like this. So for all of my new people, no different from probably what you saw on my Facebook page earlier. The difference is that, again, you don't need a license to do this, right? That was the cheat code for me, guys. So I just want to make sure that we understand that. Is anybody lost so far? If you were lost, just type the word lost, because I want to make sure that I slow it down. But if you follow me, give me 3 people to type in the chat, Derrick, I get it. I want to make sure that people are following us, right? Good to see you, Miss Tia, Miss Joanne. Good to see all of you all. Good to see everybody that, especially you guys that attended that event. Samara, Harry, good to see all of you all. Thank y'all so much for being here as well. And thank you so much for all of the new people that are here. Remember, if you got any questions, let me know, because we specialize in that. In fact, I already got about 8 questions that came in through the text, so I'm gonna be answering those as well. But I just wanted to make sure, so far, is everybody following so far? I don't want to lose nobody, because today is the day that your life can possibly change simply by getting this model, because you thought you needed a license. Okay, so one of the questions right now that I want to answer really quickly, that says, this is Derrick, how do you make sure that you choose the right clients to make sure that this doesn't turn into some clown show? So great question. One of the most important pieces that we do to this business is, first of all, keeping God first. But right under that is what we call our assessment. The assessment is what's going to allow us to ask a series of questions to make sure that we make the right decision, because we don't just house anybody and we don't just call everybody that calls our phones. In the beginning, I did that, and that was a big mistake. I found out real fast that if you just house everybody that call that phone, that's going to turn into a clown show. So today we have an assessment, meaning that we want to make sure that we're serving the right individual. Some people call it the right avatar. But without asking the right questions, ladies and gentlemen, this is what turned my program into a clown show in the beginning, because I'll admit, I was desperate to make the money and not to pay rent from my pocket. Now, most of you, if you knew, you don't know this story until you watched that webinar, but I was a poor social worker making 28 grand a year. God showed me a lady that was making 41 grand a month, housing people in rats and roaches. So when I got into this, there was nobody to teach me. People tried to hide this from me. So I went through a lot of the bumps and the bruises, and I made a bunch of mistakes, y'all. I made the Channel 8 news. I went through lawsuits until we got it right. And I said, God, if you ever let me get this right, and God, you allow me to leave my job to do this, I promise, God, I'll go all over the world teaching it, and I'll never take any credit. So that's the reason why I'm here every Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday, simply because God changed my life doing this, y'all. And it's very simple. We go by this slogan, man. If you love God, if you love people, and if you love real estate, God has allowed us to merge all of that together. That's all this is, y'all. You can put whatever name you want on top of this, but at the end of the day, guess what this really is? This is the love of God. This is social services, and this is people all wrapped up into one. And God allowed me and my family to put it in a blender. Now we pour it all over the world in terms of what this is, because my job is to dispel the myth that you need a license to do this. My job is to dispel the myth that you got to go ask your governor and your state entities to get involved in this. The devil is a liar. There is too many problems with housing that I need to go and ask anybody. And watch this, because I'm housing independent adults, that's why I don't need the license, you all. I'm not housing the guy that need medication reminders. I'm not housing the guy that need me to drive him to CVS and Walgreens to pick up his medications. I'm not housing the lady that needs for me and my staff to bathe them. I'm not housing the guy that say, Mr. Derrick, can you cook my bologna sandwich and can you brown it on both sides and split it down the middle and put mayo and mustard on it? God, that's not what I'm doing. I'm too busy to trying to be cooking their food. I want to try to save the world through housing. So I specialize in housing, and that's the way we teach it. And we're housing people that don't need your help with cooking their food and all of these extracurricular activities. All they need from you is a roof over their head. Does that make sense, everybody? Especially for my newer people. Does that make sense? I just want to make sure that you guys are just making sense of this, because some of y'all been lied to for a long time, or not even lied to. Some of y'all have just been misled. It's not always a lie. Sometimes you just simply misled because you don't know. Okay? The live event was amazing. I left there with a plan and the belief that I can do this ILF model successfully. Thank you so much, Miss Nikki. We appreciate that. That was our whole goal. Like this whole goal, and that's why, Nikki, we also involved other speakers. Now, Nikki, notice you get me 100% most of the time on this YouTube channel. But at the ILF conference, guys, that's what she's talking about. We had over 9-10 different speakers that laid the plan out as into how you do this. And then you come back here every Monday and Tuesday, and I still give it away. So, guys, if you ain't noticed by now, we are an absolute no-brainer to learn this from. I used to be the social worker. I used to be the guy that begged to get into this. I was the guy that people hid it from, but now I'm the guy that goes all over the world and I teach it because God did it for me. And God is no respecter of person. And if you notice, I'm going to mention God a lot tonight. But watch this. I'm no pastor. I'm no priest. I'm no bishop. I'm none of that. But I keep telling y'all we love God, we love people, and we love real estate. Okay? One more question I want to ask. In fact, I got a bunch of them. The next question was, how and is this profitable? Is this model profitable? Absolutely, it is. This is what makes this a no-brainer, guys, because it works both for the investor, meaning us, the people that want to do it, but it also works for the people that you're helping. Remember, guys, Derrick didn't say it. The Bible says the poor and needy will always be among us. And it's up to us to take care of the poor, the needy, and the widow. In fact, the Bible also says that when you do it unto the least of thee, God said it's like you're doing it unto me. The Bible said that, not Derrick. When you do it unto the least of thee, the marginalized, the displaced, the homeless, God said it's like you're doing it unto me. And guys, raise your hand if you want to do God a favor. Like, you can't lose in life like that. And that's what I found out in business, just in general. If you do something that God is ultimately satisfied and happy with, and it's a part of his will, guys, it's hard to lose in life like that, man, when you put other people before you. And that's what this is, guys. This is a ministry. Even though it's real estate, even though it's housing people, at the bottom line of this and at the end of the day, guess what this really is, y'all? This is ministry. If you want to see the hand of God move in your life, man, see how you can put other people before you. And if you can turn it into a business, Lord have mercy, that's the cheat code. Because that's what God kind of told me. He's like, Derrick, let me show you something, Derrick. You're already a social worker, Derrick. You want to house people. You like real estate. And Derrick, in my word, I'm telling you to help the poor and the needy. So why not merge it together, Derrick, with real estate? So that was my prayer. When God showed me that lady, y'all, that was making $41,000 a month, housing people in rats and roaches, I was like, Lord, you love that lady just like you love me. And I said, God, I want to get in this. And I said, God, if you let me get in it, I'll be different from that lady. I'll teach it to other people. Because, God, you need all of our help doing this. Why be a crab in a bucket? Miss Goddess, I was so upset with that lady. But when I got into it and we ironed it all the way out, I was no longer upset with that lady because God didn't want me to learn it from her. Because maybe if I would have got into it and learned under her, maybe I would have made excuses for the rats and roaches. The devil is a liar. These are God's people. And one day we're going to be held accountable for how we treated them. So who am I to house these folks in rats and roaches when you're making 41 grand a month? In fact, put a number 1 in the chat, and I'm going to be the first one because I was a social worker making 28 grand a year. Put a number 1 in the chat if you made 41 grand a month, if that'd change your life a little bit. And I'll wait. Put a number 1 in the chat, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, Clubhouse, if you're streaming, if you made $41,000 every 30 days, Miss Pierre, would that change your life just a little bit? And what I mean by this again is because the lady asked the question, Miss Joanne, is this profitable? Yes. Because you see this bedroom, guys, I don't rent by the room. We rent by the bed. And the reason why I said that this is a no-brainer, because the people that we're housing, they can't afford their own house and they can't afford their own apartment. So, Katara, I'm the middleman to all of this. I'm the cheat code for them. We're not as concerned about the first and the last and the security like the hotel is, or like when you rent a house from a regular landlord. Apartment, I think I said hotel. Apartment. So again, for me in Orlando, Florida, these 2 beds start at $700. And depending on what property is at, it could be $800. But my shared housing, ladies and gentlemen, starts at $700 a bed, which is very affordable for the clientele that I'm housing. And when you do that times 4 bedrooms, that's where the math is coming from, ladies and gentlemen. So to answer your question, ma'am, you said that you lived in Tennessee. I know some rent prices in Tennessee. If you get a 4-bed, 2-bath home in Tennessee, and you're charging probably somewhere around what we're charging, this is going to be profitable for you all day. But most importantly, you're going to be helping people, taking folks from homeless to hopeful. And that's the genius part of it, because you're going to also notice the longer that you're around us, we don't even talk about the money that much. Because if you understand money follows ministry, we don't even have to talk about it. Money follows ministry, and money also follows mastery. And we've mastered the art of shared housing to a population that needs your help because they can't afford an apartment and they can't afford their own house. So when I offer something that looks like this, that answers the next question, yes, ma'am, I'm a one-stop shop. We take care of the lights, the water, the Wi-Fi, the security system, the cameras, every feature that is under this roof. My clients pay me one fee. My guys don't pay separate lights and water and Wi-Fi and all of that stuff. I'm a one-stop shop. So just really quickly, and I'm not great at math, but even if we did $700 times 8 beds, because in a 4-bed, 2-bath home, guys, I'm taking 8 people from homeless to hopeful, and everybody pays rent. So the 8 people times 700 is what? Can somebody put it in the chat? Because if I say it, it'll sound great. I want somebody else to type it. What happens when you, because I'm going to speak in faith now. What happens, Goddess, when you get your place and there's 8 people in there, Goddess, and you're charging them $700 a piece, and Goddess, you're taking care of the lights, the water, the cable, the Wi-Fi. Cherie, can you type that in the chat? Miss Murray, can you type it in the chat? Tia, can you type it in the chat? What is that when you get your own place, Miss Linda? What are you collecting, Miss Joanne? And that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This is called a shared living environment. And this is that setup when people say, well, Derrick, what about the guy that don't want to share no room, Derrick? What about the guy that said, Derrick, I'm 45 years old, bro. I ain't sharing no room, Derrick. You serious? No problem. We got private accommodations for a guy like that. But just to make sure that I answer those first 2 questions, again, the best way that we're going to make this program run smoothly is to do a proper assessment. And under our coaching at Forster Consultants, we're going to give you all the paperwork you need to do this. We're going to give you all the right questions to ask and what to look for. Because trust me, guys, I've messed this up so much in the beginning 7, 8 years ago that we got this thing almost perfect now. And is it profitable? Absolutely. And the reason why it's profitable, because most of the time I'm housing 2 people per room. Guys, I don't care where you live. It's hard to lose like that. The only people that I kind of argue with is people that live in California, Oregon, New York, places that have extremely high rents. We can figure some things out and do a different move there, right? But also you got to remember, the payments that we're receiving, which is either SSI or SSDI, is different according to where you live at. So where I live at, my guys may max out at just say $800 or $900 a month. But the lady that lives in New Jersey, her rents are different. The rents that are in South Florida, Miami, they're different from my rents in Orlando. Talk to me, Miss Neonta. Rents down there $1,100, $1,000, $980 per bed. So again, just depends on where you live in, because if you live in Augusta, Georgia, Macon, Georgia, your beds may be $450, $400. So again, depending on where you live at, guys, and our coaching to help you with that as well, what are you supposed to be charging? Here's another question. Do we allow pets? Absolutely not. Not in this model. People are allergic at times. Sometimes people are afraid of animals. So we want to respect that whole thing with the people that have the comfort dogs and all of that. But in this environment, that's probably not going to work. But watch this, though. I'm so in tune on that it's a need. One day, I'm going to have an ILF that have a kennel attached to it, because we meet a lot of homeless people every day that will not separate from their animal. They rather be homeless than to give up their comfort dog, their comfort animal, or their rescue dog, or all of these names that they're attaching to it now. We see that all the time. So I'm so in tune to that one day my desire is to open an ILF that has a kennel attached to it. Now, obviously, there'll be certain rules, but that's just to go to show you the flexibility and how I'm already thinking ahead of time. Because it exists right now where a lot of people would rather be homeless on the street than to give up their dog that they've had for years. Let's take a break and we'll be right back. Hey, what's going on, family? Just to let you know really quick, everything that you're listening to right now, I actually have it in a more structured way in a webinar. So when you guys get done here, go to forsterconsultants.com, click the tab that says webinars, and there's 2 webinars there. One is for you to be the actual ILF operator, meaning that you want to do it. And then the other one is the HRA. That stands for Housing Referral Agency, where you're able to take people from homeless to hopeful, and you actually don't need the real estate. It stands for Housing Referral Agency, and we call it a business in a box. But definitely go to forsterconsultants.com, watch both of those webinars, then set up a free strategy call with me and my team, and let's see how we can get you started. Back to the show. So as I told you guys earlier, right, don't forget, I want you guys to watch our webinar, and let's get on a phone call. And how you're able to get the webinar immediately is right now on every one of you all, because you can watch it later, but I just want you to have it on your phone now. So everybody right now, grab your cell phone, right? And I want you guys to text the phrase more info. That's MOREINFO. Text more info to 407 326-0086. And I just put it in the chat. So you're going to text the phrase more info to 407-326-0086. Go ahead and do that now. Keep listening to me, but do that now and watch that webinar later, because my team is going to give you both of them. The first one, the ILF, meaning that you want to do this yourself. And then they're also going to send you one that where you can be a housing referral agency, the way you still can house the homeless and the displaced, and you never need the property. You don't have to buy a house or rent one or lease one. You can just use your cell phone and advertisement and make referrals and still make an impact and still make an income, and you never need the real estate. That's a game changer. Watch both of them, and then let's get on the phone call. Let's talk. In other words, I want y'all to make my schedule busy this week. Okay, I'm fresh off a conference. I'm rejuvenated, and I'm ready to teach. Okay, in fact, we'll probably go well over tonight. These are usually 90-minute rooms, but I'm already feeling it. We're going to probably go well over tonight because I want to give a lot of information and I want to answer a lot of questions. Okay. So another question that I want to ask right here is, do your clients sign leases? I'm going to say yes to that, but I'm also going to say that we also use something that's a little bit better than a lease. And I'll just give you guys some free coaching right now. Some people are starting to use this thing called memberships. And I
Derrick, you're muted.
muted. So I'm gonna just kind of keep doing that, and I keep getting muted for some reason. But anyway, the lease is what I'm talking about. Yes, we make sure that when we move people in, we don't just move them in, right? There is paperwork. So even with our coaching, which is called our ILF Mastery Blueprint, the one-on-one coaching, we give y'all all the paperwork that you need. We don't make you guess about nothing. Under our coaching, you become family. So I become your big brother at that point. So everything that you need, including the virtual assistant. So if you didn't know it, guys, our ILF Mastery Blueprint comes with so much of stuff in terms of products, and you still get me as your one-on-one coach. But we also give you a virtual assistant as well. But back to that original question, yes, we absolutely.
You're muted again.
A rule book, they get a handbook. So everything that you guys need in terms of your paperwork, including your lease, we absolutely give that to you all as coaching clients. But our clients, meaning our tenants, yes, they all sign a lot of paperwork before they move in. Okay. Another question says, where does the money come from? How are you guys making money, Derrick, if these people are homeless? The clientele that we serve, ladies and gentlemen, they receive an income that's called SSI or SSDI. And that's a Social Security income that we get without fail. Nothing stops that payment, guys. One more time, it's either called SSI or SSDI. And that's a Social Security income that my clients get without fail, and nothing stops it. COVID-19, the monkeypox, they can't miss 3 or 4 days of work. No excuses because the money's guaranteed. But I also house people that have jobs. So I house the everyday Joe, just like a lot of people do. So the guy that works at McDonald's, the guy that works at Outback Steakhouse, the guy that's a substitute school teacher. In fact, the school teacher may want a room that looks like this. He don't want to share no room. He's gonna say, Derrick, man, I'm a professional, bro. And I can't afford my own apartment, Derrick, and I understand that. And Derrick, I can't buy a house right now. But Derrick, do you have any private rooms, man? Because I got a lot of school work in my curriculum, and I bring a lot of my tools home. And Derrick, I want to put a lock on my door. No problem. He's probably gonna get a room that looks just like that. So again, today I tell you guys a lot, man. When we first started, I only housed the guy that had the mental health problems, the guy that was homeless and you knew it. But today, we house the everyday Joe because it's just so expensive. I don't care where you live at. Give me 3 people in the chat and just say, yes, real estate and rent is expensive nowadays. Just give me 3 of y'all to say that, because again, no matter where you live at, it's expensive. So now instead of just housing the everyday guy that you thought we would be housing, that's holding that sign up that's saying, I'll work for food. We housing the guy that works at JC Penney's. I'm housing the guy that works at Chick-fil-A. I'm housing the guy that's a prison officer. Guys, I would have never imagined I would be housing a police officer and things of substitute school teachers. But because it's just so expensive now, guys, everybody need a place to live. And again, I cater to people according to what they need, because watch this. In this one model that is called independent living facilities, there's actually 3 different models in it. The shared model, that's the 2 beds per room. The private model is the one I just showed you right there. But the private suite has its own bathroom. So see how we can offer 3 and remember, ladies and gentlemen, I don't own this property. A lot of you guys, what's holding you up, Miss Fielder, you thought you had to own this place. Even me as a social worker, I thought I had to go and buy a property, get a sprinkler system, get permission from my state, until God showed me a lady that was making $41,000 a month doing this model right here. The only difference is that she was housing people in rats and roaches, and the beds were on the floor, no sheets, no pillow, no comforter, no pictures on the wall. It looked like a drug house. And when I saw it, and when she said, Derrick, I won't teach you how to do this, bro, but let me show you what I make doing it. And this is before I ever saw it. That lady showed me her Chase app and her phone. Y'all, I never forget that as long as I live, Miss Charlotte. I was like, wow. She was making $41,000 a month. And here I am making 28 grand a year as the social worker, and I was the one sending her all the clients. Guys, that broke my heart to be in that and to realize that I also, in a way, I was mistreating people, because as the social worker, I'm sending people here. But if you know my story, guys, I didn't know it. I found out when I said, you know what? I'm tired of people hiding from me. I'm just going to go and see what it looked like myself. And I took a Saturday, y'all, and I said, man, you know what? I'm just going to see what these places look like, because nobody want to teach me. And when I went and looked and I saw the rats and the roaches, and it smelled like poverty, I was like, Lord, have mercy. I said, this is the same lady that just showed me she was making 41 grand a month. And I always ask people, boy, if you made 41 grand a month, would that change your life a little bit? And simply, I say, God, I want to get in this. I start praying to God, and my prayer don't sound like some old Baptist preacher. I just start talking. I say, God, I want to get in this. I said, God, I want to help people. I said, God, I want to be involved in real estate. Like, God, like, can you allow me to get in it? And slowly but surely, guys, I got into it. I made a lot of bumps. I made a lot of bruises. I made a lot of dumb decisions. But ultimately, I got in it. And lucky for a lot of you all, I learned it. And with the grace of God, because watch this, remember, I take no credit. I am no genius. God just went. But God also told me, Derrick, don't be stingy. And Derrick, don't hide it from people the way they hid it from you. Derrick, your assignment is that you are to teach this all over the world, whether people mistreated you or not, Derrick. Because that scripture in the Bible that says, write the vision and make it plain, guess what that meant for me? Derrick, write the vision, make it plain, but Derrick, you go through the bumps and the bruises of it. Derrick, you make all the mistakes, and through the grace of God, let the Holy Spirit and God help you through it. But Derrick, when you get it just right, give God all the credit and come back and teach it to other people. Lord have mercy. And that's what we do. And I also believe that's why we're also blessed, that my blessing is also tied into me not being selfish about what this is. And one more time, ladies and gentlemen, in case you came late, an ILF is simply a housing facility where adults are able to live and thrive without the need for staff and or medical oversight. And what an ILF is not, because that's another question that came through, it's not an assisted living facility. It's not a traditional group home, because I need permission to open both of those. My state got to be in agreement for me to open both of those. Guys, for my ILF, I didn't have to ask nobody. The assisted living facility, you got to have that fire system thing in your house. Some of it require a fire sprinkler system, walkthroughs from the city and the fire department, tons of paperwork to get in it. Guys, the ILF model only requires a willing heart, a love for God, a love for people, and you got to have patience. Because if you only want to make the money and you about money, 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 no, 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 no. This ain't for you. I got a bunch of other plays that you can get into that if you only want the money. Trust me, guys, I'm a business guy. But this is a ministry. So you got to have patience. You got to have the love of God in you. And trust me, this can make a bunch of money. But you can also mistreat people if your heart ain't in it. So I tell people, if you don't have the heart for people, you generally are not a people's person, you got short patience, this might not be for you. You can do Airbnb, you can rent to regular families, maybe you can just rent rooms to people. But what we do is more program based, right? And it's more of a ministry. Not that I'm trying to make these people go to church. Now, if they want to go, God bless them. Let's go. I'll send an Uber. In fact, well, I ain't gonna say a lot, but a handful of my clients actually go to my church, and we pay for it every Sunday through Uber. Because remember, I said, God, if you let me get in it, I'll introduce people to you, meaning my clients, but God, I'll never take any credit, and I'll teach people how to do it. So when an ILF is not, and some of y'all should be shouting right now in your living room, because you should be saying, man, this guy Derrick just told me, I know I just met Derrick, but Derrick said that I can do what I've always wanted to do, but I don't need the license. This is not an ALF. It's an ILF. The A and the I is the most important in both of those, guys. Assisted living is not what I do. I do independent, which means, again, my clients can cook their own ham sandwich. They can take their own medications, and they can provide their own transportation through their insurance company, the Uber guy, the Lyft guy, or the guy they met at the gas station 2 weeks ago. So that's what an ILF is not. And somebody told me a long time ago, y'all, dreams don't work unless you do. So some of y'all have had this as a dream on your heart. In fact, some of y'all, God told you to do it. It didn't take me to tell you to do this. God is just genius how he merged us together. Some of y'all found me in a Facebook group today. Some of y'all found me on YouTube, TikTok. Some of y'all found me on Instagram. That part don't matter now. God has done his job. Your job now is to move at the speed of instruction, which is another thing that we live by. When you hear this, this should be, first of all, like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy just gave me the cheat code to start my own program. God, thank you. You can say my thanks for later. Thank God first, because he's the control over all of this. Because with God, all things are possible. But just like this saying says, dreams don't work, guys, unless you do. It would be useless for me. I beg God to help people. I beg God to be in real estate. And dummy me, I'm on this job for 9 years before I realized God gave me everything I asked him for, y'all. I said, God, I want to help people. He used my wife to trick me to go to college and become a social worker to help people. I said, God, I want to be involved in real estate. He showed me a lady that was mistreating people in real estate, y'all, making $41,000 a month. And here I am screaming, God, save my life. God, I want to be rich. God, I want to be wealthy. God, I'm tired of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And the whole time, Miss Joanne, everything I asked him for, he gave it to me. But Joanne, if I would have never put my hands to the plow and never took that Saturday to go out and go to place to place to place, group home to group home, as they called them back then, Joanne, I would have never got this vision to see how to get started. And that's why we say, guys, dreams don't work unless you do. So again, this is useless, guys, if you don't move at the speed of instruction in terms of what you're hearing tonight. And I told every one of y'all the first step, because I'm talking y'all tonight like family. We're going to go over a lot of stuff, a lot of pictures, and a lot of know-how. But that webinar is your first starting point, and then get on the phone with me. So text that phrase, more info, M-O-R-E, more info, I-N-F-O, to 407-326-0086, and watch that webinar that my team is going to send you. And one more time, dreams don't work, guys, unless you do. Let's take a commercial break, hear from David and Dennis, and we'll be right back. So Dennis, in this independent living facility model, right, which y'all call ILFs, what kind of residents can I house in this kind of model? So Dennis, in this independent living facility model, right, which y'all call ILFs, what kind of residents can I house in this kind of model? David, that's a great question. And that's actually what makes the ILF model so great, is because it's flexible. So prime example, you can house military veterans, elderly adults, women that are escaping domestic violence, and the list goes on and on and on. So Dennis, where do you get your residents from? I see you guys on TikTok and Facebook, you guys getting all of these houses. Like, where in the world are you getting these people from? Yeah, that's actually pretty easy. Forster Consultants teaches us to use social media such as Instagram, Facebook to let people know who we are, what we do, but probably most importantly, who do we serve? And we do that very consistently. So every day, 7 days a week, there's something being posted about what we do and who we serve, but also building relationships with social workers and case managers. Again, letting them know who we are, what we do, and most importantly with them that we're available. Dennis, how in the world are you able to do this without a license, bro? David, remember the reason why we don't need a license, because remember the clients that we serve, they're independent. So that means that they can take their own medications, they can provide their own transportation, and they can cook and provide their own food. Dennis, man, you seem to know a lot about this independent living stuff, man. How do you know so much? Well, first of all, I graduated from Forster Consultants University, and I have a master's degree in independent living facilities. And I joined the Forster crew every Monday on YouTube at 6 p.m. Eastern. They go live, and that guy Derrick, man, he give the game away. So I'm always there. So Dennis, what in the world are the requirements to get started with something like this? The only requirement for this, David, is a big heart for God, his people, and the love for real estate. That's it. And bro, don't think I ain't listening, because I am listening. But where can I find more information like this at, man? Because I really want to get started, man. David, if I were you, I'd follow Derrick Forston on Facebook and TikTok, and then I'd follow Forston Consultants on everything else in terms of Instagram, Facebook, and on YouTube. Again, really slowly, David, because you're hard-headed. I'd follow Derrick Forston at Facebook on his personal page. I'd follow him on TikTok, but I will also follow Forston Consultants on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Don't forget, David. Hey, Dennis, man, I really appreciate that, man. I'm going to do exactly what you told me to do. I'm going to follow Forster Consultants on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. No problem, David. That's actually what I'm here for. And by the way, where did you get that hoodie? I like that. Oh, this? I got this from Second Chance Apparel. I'll put the link below. This is for aspiring entrepreneurs. And the reason why I love to support it is that every shirt or hoodie that you purchase goes back into housing the homeless. All right, let's go. Let's go. Again, thank y'all so much for being here. I super appreciate it. As we said, we usually close down around about 7 o'clock, but I'm feeling really good today, so I'm gonna go way over. So make sure you guys keep the questions coming. Big shout out to Ms. Rita that just put, "What's up, family? Just wanted to encourage everyone. I'm about to sign another agreement with another landlord to get another ILF in less than 2 months. Praise God." And that's actually answering the question that I just saw in the chat. So there's a gentleman that stated, in fact, Shay, if you can find that one, put that one up. Somebody just asked that about how to get the property if you don't own it. And that's kind of what we specialize in, guys. I used to be a poor social worker only making, 28 grand a year. So how in the world could we get a property if you can't buy it? So again, renting or leasing the property is what we do. And also, many years ago, I never would tell people kind of the secret sauce to do that. You had to have my one-on-one coaching. But literally about a year ago, we put that in the ebook now. So if you guys type the phrase or the word purpose, I do believe the word is purpose, to 407-326-0086. My team will send you the information to get that ebook that I literally give you the tools to do that. But because I like to give the game away so much, I'm going to still give game tonight. One tool that I'm going to tell you right now that messes everybody up, and that cost me a $40,000 lawsuit. Get your pen out real quick, right? You guys want to write this down. One of the major things that you want to do when you rent this property is you want to put it in your business name. You want to present this as a business, sir. So I'm gonna just pretend that your name is Steve, right? Because I'll make this impersonal. So Steve, instead of written this in Steve Lowry's name, you're not going to do that. You're going to start something that's called Lowry Solutions or Lowry Enterprise. And I'm just making this example up, y'all. I'm making up this name and everything because I want to make this as impersonal to this guy as possible. But again, instead of you starting this as Steve Lowry, you putting that lease in Steve Lowry's name and you present it as you as Steve, it'll sound better to a landlord if you're presenting it as Lowry Enterprise or Lowry Solutions. So the first step that I'm going to tell everybody, which is the first step of my coaching anyway, turn yourself into a business. Watch this. I never wanted to be known as some guy that was renting rooms to people. I wanted to be respected as a housing program that was changing lives in the community through housing. One more time, really slowly, and watch how I compare these two. I didn't want to be known as some guy. I wanted to be known as a program. So right there, program guy, or program lady that was just renting rooms. Because remember, guys, I don't rent rooms. Now, between us right here as family, yes, I do. But when I'm presenting this, I don't rent rooms. I provide a safe haven in a shared living environment, and I'm changing lives in my community through shared housing. See the difference in that? I'm teaching y'all right now about communication without even saying it. Notice how I went from just being a guy to being a program. Somebody should be writing this down. This is good teaching. I also don't want to make it sound like I'm renting rooms. I'm changing lives in the community through shared housing. Put number 3 in the chat if that makes sense and if you like that. Because one thing about this business that I noticed over the years, guys, a lot of people don't know how to communicate it. When people say, well, Derrick, I can't get clients. Derrick, I can't get a house. Derrick, how do you get these people to call you back? Guys, it's all about communication. How you think Miss Rita is on her second house right now in less than 2 months? She's under our coaching. She's an ILF Master Blueprint member. So she knows the verbiage. And more importantly, she came to the conference this past weekend. Lord have mercy. If y'all missed that conference, man, ask God to forgive you. Lord have mercy. We gave away so much information at that conference, man. You would have had to get a second belly to digest it. Put amen in the chat if you was at that conference and you agree. But back to the communication. What I find out through the years of this, guys, and also being a coach, where a lot of people mess this up at, is they don't know how to communicate it. In fact, I got a whole slide to show you some of the barriers of why you can't get a house. One of the hardest things that we do, and I share this with everybody, I don't hide this, is getting the real estate to do it in. So write this down. If you just joined us, Derrick told me tonight at 6:53 p.m. Eastern on June 25th that the only barrier and one of the hardest things to this ministry when it comes to housing people in a model that looks like this is getting the real estate to do it in. First of all, the landlord is afraid that he won't get paid. Through our coaching at Forston Consultants, we're going to ensure you that you give the right verbiage so that they're ensured that they're going to be paid. Because most of the time, ladies and gentlemen, these landlords don't care what you do in that house as long as you pay that rent. I'm going to say that one more time. A lot of the landlords that we pitch this to with the right verbiage, Mr. Steve, they don't care what you do in this house as long as every month on the 1st you paying that rent. Number 2, they're not sure if you're legit or not, which goes back to my conversation about you turning yourself into a business. Guys, if I would have started this as some guy named Derrick that was renting rooms, we wouldn't be as successful as we are today. But because we keep God first, we got great softwares and systems, we use virtual assistants, and we started this as a business and not as me, just some guy. That's what's the cheat code to this, ladies and gentlemen. Even when we work with programs and certain people that'll pay you for the housing, they'll never cut a check to Derrick Forston, but they will cut a check to Second Chance Housing of Forston. I can show you guys of checks. I keep getting muted, man. Something's wrong with this YouTube thing. I can show you guys notebooks of checks, and none of them have my name on it, guys. None of them. A lot of the programs that we work with, prison systems, social service systems, people, they're working at these hospitals that allow them to cut checks to us. But guess what? They can't cut it to a regular person, guys. You got to be a business. So one of the second, man, this is starting to get aggravating. I can't figure out why this thing. Can I get 3 of y'all to pray real quick that the devil stop doing this? It's literally muting me, and I'm not even touching anything. Let me do something real quick, y'all. Give me 2 seconds. Three of y'all pray real quick for that to stop. Let me jump back in. All right. So another reason why it's hard for you to get that first rental and why landlords don't trust you, because they're afraid you'll be bringing in criminals and disorderly people. But if you remember 30 minutes, I told you guys about an assessment that we do on everybody before we move them in. How do you communicate that with the homeowner? How do I know that how can I ensure all that's involved in that, ladies and gentlemen? Another part is that they're afraid that you won't be able to control the environment once you get started. And again, if you don't have good coaching, if you can't point to me or somebody that's guiding you in this, that's another cheat code to getting started. Sometimes you may not have the credibility up front, but what if you're able to lean on me? One thing about us is that our social media is everywhere. My record is everywhere. So when you guys become clients of ours and we're coaching you, you can use our credibility. Does that make sense, everybody? I'm going to take a quick commercial break real quick, and I'm going to see if I can figure out why this thing keep muting me. Hey, what's going on, family? I super hope you guys are enjoying this information. But let's just say you want more one-on-one coaching, just like what you're receiving now. You're actually looking for our ILF Mastery Blueprint. So that's our hand-holding one-on-one coaching, where that's what most of the people that come to us, that's what they want. They don't want to just watch me on YouTube all the time, right? They want me in their back pocket for one-on-one coaching. And what's super powerful about it right now, that there's a scholarship that's actually available that brings that down to only $7,500, a long ways from the normal price of the 15 grand. So even doing this live right now, if you guys text IMB below, my team can send you over some information. But nevertheless, definitely go over and see forstonconsultants.com and check us out there as well. Let's get back to the show. Let's jump back into it. And again, thank y'all so much for being here, and excuse this system for keep muting. Not sure why is it doing that. But anyway, the devil is a liar because he's trying to stop somebody from getting this information. But anyway, let's keep it moving forward. But these are some of the reasons, guys, why you won't or why you can't get this rental. And our coaching will cover all of this to make sure that the homeowner is comfortable with what you're doing. Okay. I want to give y'all some examples real quick of some properties that over the years, I want to give y'all an example of some properties in terms of what the property was and what was the owner's thoughts on giving the property to me. So one of our first properties was a 3-bed, 2-bath home. The owner lived locally right here in Orlando. He loved the idea of what this was because he could relate to it. So to answer your question, Miss Susie and Mr. Ron, you guys have a big family that are watching this on a big screen TV. You guys asked about this. Do we tell the homeowner what we're doing? Absolutely. Remember, guys, we're in this to save people from being homeless. If I start this business and don't tell the homeowner, he's kicking all of us out. And now I just created a bigger problem that I was trying to stop, which is homelessness. So we absolutely tell the owner what we do. And because we told this owner, he owned 10 houses in one cul-de-sac. And guess who had 8 of them because of the relationship? Us. The other part that I just told you would make this real easy, he was local to us, which isn't always my favorite, but guys, he could relate to the story because he himself over 20 years ago was in rehab. See how important that was, Qatar, for me to say that to him that, hey, sir, this is what we're doing. And by the way, guys, you got to use the right verbiage, ladies and gentlemen. So our coaching will cover the right verbiage. And one more time again, in this 3-bed, I'm able to take 6 people from homeless to hopeful in this 3-bed, 2-bath home. Guys, make sure you put your questions in, because if this kind of keeps up, that's going to aggravate the heck out of me. And I'm going to probably cut this a lot shorter than I want it to until I can fix it. So if you got any questions while I'm talking, also make sure you're following me because we're family now. So because I may end this early, follow me at Facebook at Derrick Forston. Follow me at TikTok at Derrick Forston and everything else at Forston Consultants. Okay. So even when this ends, I want you guys to be able to continue the information because I'm not sure why my computer is doing this today. But make sure. Again, the webinar gives you a free call with me. Okay. Property number 2. It was a 4-bed, 2-bath home. Owner lived in New York. The owner could care less what I was doing as long as I paid that rent. Sometimes you guys are going to run into people like that. I keep telling you that. And when you use the right verbiage and you present this the right way, guys, you can become. This property went a little bit different. This is a 5-bed, 3-bath home, my largest to date, ILF. The owner lives in Ontario, Canada. He didn't trust me or the ideal. In fact, he tried to make it unattainable by charging me $7,200 to get into the place. That was first, last, and a double deposit and security. This is the property, guys. I can talk about this property for 2 hours. This is the property that, guys, I had to scrape up all the money to get it. But I said, God, if you let me get this property, and I told the public, I said, y'all, if I get this property, game over. I'm quitting my job. Most of y'all, if you get a property like this, you can resign.
You're muted again.
So again, this model right here, guys, is that huge house that if you get one of these, most of y'all can leave y'all job. But back to what I was saying, when I gave the pitch, the one that I teach y'all how to say, and the one Rita's been talking about to these homeowners and landlords, guys, he didn't trust me or the process. He didn't trust me or this model. In other words, he said, okay, big mouth, if you want to do this, here's the fee for it. Can you pay that? And by the grace of God, y'all, I came up with $7,200. And now today, this landlord loves me because now he get it. He also understands that I'm a no-brainer to him because he also likes guaranteed rent. Here's another property, guys, that was called the Lakeview. 5-bed, 3.5 bath. The owners lived 2 houses down from me. Oh my God. That was a mistake, ladies and gentlemen. Never do that. Guys, we was getting houses so fast around this time. And I was so desperate to get another house because the calls were coming in so fast. We literally got a property, guys, that sat on the lake. Now, I'll admit, to date, this is the most prettiest ILF I've ever had. It sat on a lake. It was 2 stories, and the master bedroom overlooked the lake on a balcony. After a long fight with them to get it, they agreed upon a 6-month lease. And it still cost me $6,050 to get into it because, again, they didn't trust me. They didn't trust the process, and they didn't trust the model. They didn't even give me a year lease, y'all. And watch how honest I am. The husband of this property, he loved the idea in terms of what we were doing. But that wife, she hated it. And after the 6 months, guess what we had to do, y'all? So again, these are some of the things that you can possibly run into. But again, with our coaching, we're going to clean. So this thing is paused probably 20 more times since I've kind of talked about it. So what I'm going to do is this, right? I'm going to give the instruction one more time for how you guys can get on the phone with me. I want you guys to, in fact, I'm going to put it in the chat. And Shay going to make me get a MacBook now because this CPU is giving problems. Shay said it's kind of probably a little too old. So I'm going to have to get a new computer, y'all. I think Shay going to make me go Mac this time. So as I'm getting ready to give some instruction, guys, if you have any questions, I want to give some instructions about our coaching and also how you guys can get on the phone with me. So I just put in the chat, If you text the phrase more info to 407-326-0086, you're going to immediately get 2 webinars in a link. I want you to watch them both and then schedule a strategy call with me. If you're married, watch it with your spouse, and both of y'all come to me. That way, ma'am, you're not trying to play your best impression of me and trying to say, well, babe, Derrick said, and Derrick said, no, let me tell it. Y'all watch it together, and then y'all have the call with me. That's the first step to all of this. Next step is subscribe to the YouTube channel. I want you guys to make sure that you're following me here on YouTube. Be nosy and be my friend on Facebook. So let's become friends on Facebook. I should leave tonight with over 45. Derrick Forston at Facebook. This thing keeps pausing. This is crazy. Shay, would you have any clue why this keeps doing this, Shay?
Yes, I'm here. What's going on?
Really?
I'm here, Derrick. So it looks like you may just need to drop off and go live from regular mic. Derrick,
This thing keeps pausing like every 6 seconds.
you're already gone again. So just disconnect and go from live audio. Go from your regular audio feed.
Hey, what's going on, family? Have you ever imagined starting your own housing program? That's probably why you're here. And if you're looking for one-on-one coaching, like you're kind of getting right now,
Derrick, whatever you just did stopped all video. Still can't hear you. Cannot hear you. Mr. Forston, we cannot hear you.
I don't know if you guys can still hear me, actually.
Now we can. All right, family. So I guess it's time for Shay to take over. So I'm going to answer some of the questions in the chat while Derrick is trying to get back online. Rita, congratulations, Derrick. We cannot hear you. All right. So what do we do in the if you don't own the home, what do you do to get the property? As Derrick was talking about this earlier, the biggest thing is the acquisition of the property. Say something. The biggest thing you need to know when it comes to the acquisition of the property is relationship with the owners. You want to make sure that they are informed and aware of what you're doing and that you will be utilizing their property or their premises for your purpose. That does not sound like, hey, owner, I'm going to be renting your home to rent your home. It's all about the conversation and the dialogue. It's knowing what to say and what not to say. Every conversation you have with these property owners will truly be centered around, one, giving them enough truth or enough fact to be able to, again, obtain the property appropriately and in good standing with them. That's something that we train on because every instance is going to be different. Every conversation with an investor or a landlord may be different. One landlord may go for a basic spiel. Some may need a little bit more convincing. So everybody's call may sound different. Every call sounds different, and that's one of the biggest. So one of the biggest concerns, one of the biggest things we do within our coaching is educate you all One of the things we do is fill you all in on how that sounds, what that conversation is, and it's based on the conversation you have with that other party. So that is one of our biggest key points. Any other questions? Hey, Katara, thank you for sending that message. Hopefully he can see it. I'm looking for questions in the chat. If anyone else has any questions pertaining to the ILF model, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm also going to share with you all that I am a nonprofit owner and operator who utilizes the ILF model to house women that have gone through domestic violence. So not only do you have to do this from a LLC or a for-profit model, you can utilize a nonprofit organization or a 501c3 to provide housing. And I do that by providing I provide my housing through a program. So it's more programmatic for my nonprofit organization. So I hope that helps you all. And I apologize for the technical difficulties. I think this is the week that Derrick gets a new laptop. What y'all say? I'm just scanning the chat. Rita, if you see anything in the chat that I may have missed in regards to any questions, please let me know by putting them. So if you guys see any other questions, let me know. All right. So let me see. I'm looking at the top of the room, guys, scanning the room for questions. Sorry, I don't have my camera on. I was working in the background today. The basic steps. So Nicole asks, Goddess asks, what are the basic steps to start if one can't afford to pay for courses? I tell anybody when you come into this space, the basic steps are going to be, one, you're going to do this from a business. You're not going to do this as your individual self. This is not appropriate. You want to make sure that you have the appropriate coverage when it comes to insurance and all of the documentation that you need in order to provide housing for these individuals. Like I said, business setup is very important in this structure, business setup, and then getting the word out to all of those that you are going to, you're going to get the word out to case managers, social workers, everybody in the sphere that will be able to help filter the residents to your home. So social media, having a social media business page where you can also provide, where you can have paid ads. So getting the information out is going to be very important. And of course, creating a business entity. Most people think that that is the hardest part of this business. And technically it's not. The hardest part, as Derrick's been stating to you all, is getting the home, the actual real estate, the asset is the most important. Thanks, Rita. I'll answer that one next. So that's one of the things you want to make sure you have, that you are set up appropriately to limit liability from falling on yourself. That is the top piece of information that I can give anyone. So again, set yourself up as a business. Market. If people don't know you exist, they will not utilize your services. So if you don't market, you again just have an LLC that will never obtain residents or clients. Have a website. You want to have a website set up so that people can get you information that can verify and validate that you are a true business. Okay, that's what you want to make sure you have established. Miss Slater said, who do we give that to? Who do you give what to? Just post that for me. All right. So who are you giving what to? Miss Slater, if you want to put that in the chat, just so that I'm making sure I'm answering your question correctly. If you're giving the website or your social media handle, those are going to be the things that are used to validate that you are an effective business, and that can be given to the social worker, the case manager. That can be given to anyone that needs it. So that's what you want to make sure that you have, that proof. Absolutely. Proof is the LLC isn't something that they really need proof of, because they're going to verify you anyway. You're going to need proof of an LLC so that you can get a business bank account. You're going to need proof of an LLC so that when you do file or these companies ask you for a W-9, which is a tax form, that you're putting your business entity's information on it. So those are the things you'll need an LLC for. Nobody in this space is going to pay Miss Slater, right? They are going to pay the entity, especially when you're working with organizations, hospitals, case managers, social workers, other organizations. They're not just going to pay an individual as yourself. They will pay into an organization, a business. They have to make sure that they are utilizing the funds that they're receiving, because you do have some organizations that will pay for your resident stay. And when they pay for the resident stay, again, they're gonna need to document what company or what program they are working with and where those funds went. We work with a lot of organizations here locally that obtain federal funds that allow them to provide housing, and they don't write a check to Shay Forston or Derrick Forston or Rita Klum. They send that information to they literally write that check out in the name of the Angela Denise Foundation or Second Chance Housing or Cozy Comfort Housing. Anything you do, Miss Slater, is going to be, I tell anyone, whether you're an HRA, whether you're a housing provider, you want to be set up the correct way. This is a business, not a hobby. When people set themselves up as businesses, they are setting themselves up for success and longevity. People are going to take you more seriously, and they're not just going to say, oh, this is someone that's trying to do something. Having a true business identity and structure behind you makes you it validates you more in the eyes of the person that is using or utilizing your services. So I tell anybody, no matter how small or what idea you have, set yourself up. There are tax breaks, and there are some significant tax benefits that you can get by setting yourself up appropriately as a business entity. Derrick, do you want to add anything to that for Miss Slater? Are you available? Can you hear us now? You got to unmute. Still can't hear you. Still can't hear you, babe. Okay, so just come down here and we can share the laptop. See what happens, guys. We have a great event. Hold on one second. All right, so awesome. So back to the questions that were in the chat. So thank you, Ms. Slater, for letting me know that I did answer that question. Thank you, Rita. Someone asked, would you recommend staying in the same state where you're trying to open up your group home or your ILF? So I'm going to say yes. For the purposes of just starting, what people don't realize is that not the biggest hurdle, but the biggest learning curve of starting a housing program such as an ILF or shared housing is needing boots on the ground. There are certain processes that you will want to implement in this housing program to make sure that the oversight and that it's being ran appropriately. And that's why you want to be close by it, right? In the event of an emergency, in the event of an intake, they may need your assistance to make sure that the resident the intake process is completed appropriately. So there are certain things you'll need. If you're not physically there, you need someone that can carry the brand as if it was you, right? You need a replica of yourself. We do know people that do this in different states from where they're located, but they have boots on the ground. Derrick talks about there's 2 physicians that we've taught this to, that we've also trained their family members in the process. So the physicians buy the properties, and the family members are the ones that run the actual ILFs or the houses themselves. So although it is not a licensed home, it does not have the 24/7 oversight, but there still are rules. There are still regulations that we want our residents to abide by. And we still want to have somewhat of a hands-on approach to this housing program to limit the ability of just chaos, right? You want this to run seamlessly. You want it to be very well kept. And if you're away from it and don't have any eyes on it, it makes it difficult for it to maintain or sustain its effectiveness in the way in which you set it up. The biggest learning opportunity for anyone getting into this space, I'm going to say it like this. It's not yes, it takes a while to get the home, but the biggest time, the most effort is going to come in from you is when residents start entering the space. Once residents start entering the home, that's when the rubber meets the road, right? Because now you're dealing with personalities. You've got to make sure that you're assessing based on the individuals that are already in the home, and then trying to compare and contrast those relationships or personalities with the ones that you are soon bringing into the home, or the ones that you are assessing to bring into the home. So it's all about having some form of oversight, but not the oversight that is as necessary as in an ALF or a licensed model home. So I hope I answered that question for you all. And I am going to let Derrick pop back in here so that he can share with you all more.
All right, guys. So I think they got me back in here now. So I'm going to turn my camera on. I don't like to have it like that. Let's do this. I want you guys to make sure you know it's me. So obviously I'm in a different setting now. So let me change a little bit. I think I can maybe close this blind. Yeah, we got to figure out why why my laptop was doing that. Yeah, so let's see what we got here. So looks like Shay took care of you guys' questions there. What other questions do you guys have for me? Because I know that I was also getting ready to go over. Somebody was asking about the coaching stuff, so I want to make sure that I also go over that. All right, so right here is our ILF Mastery Blueprint, our one-on-one coaching, and that's what Miss Rita has. So a lot of the questions that you guys are asking can be catered to you specifically also in terms of where you live at. And that's called our ILF Mastery Blueprint. And what's all included in it is like everything, right? So it's literally kind of a business in a box. So everything from your logo to your website. So that takes care of your marketing presence, right? So we use something that's called Digital Flow Solutions. So your website and your logo is going to be built by our team, but with your insight and with your guidance. Most importantly, you get this one-on-one coaching, right? So again, in this model, you're going to have a lot of questions. And instead of you guessing and scratching your head trying to figure things out, that's what you have us for. So we want to make sure that even though we give you a lot of these products that you're going to be getting, we still give you the one-on-one coaching. Also, every ebook, every curriculum, every course, everything that we've ever created when it comes to the shared living environment, you get it. So in other words, we don't want you again scratching your head trying to figure things out. You're going to get every ebook, every curriculum that was ever created, including the one that we just dropped, Our newest ebook is called The 14 Dumbest Mistakes That I Ever Made, right? And the opposite of what you should have done or what was the best route to go versus what I did in the beginning. So the ILF 101 course, again, every ebook, that whole HRA that I told you guys about. Remember, the HRA allows you guys to do what we do, but you don't need a property. You don't have to buy it, lease it, or rent it. It stands for housing, referral, agency. And again, that's where it allows you guys to house the homeless and the displaced, but you actually don't need the property to do it. Okay, so you get the course, you get the SOPs with it. Most importantly, we also give you a virtual assistant that can do a lot of this work for you, because a lot of you guys are busy. A lot of you guys are serial entrepreneurs. A lot of you all have jobs and kids that are involved in sports. So we give you guys everything that you need. And for the lady that asked about, and I think it was two people, of how to acquire the property. Years ago, you had to have our coaching to get that. But now we actually put it in an ebook. So you get an ebook as well as a live role play for only $97. But as you can see, within this coaching, you actually get the ebook inside of it. So everything that we've ever delivered, ever created, is all inside of the ILF Mastery Blueprint. And right here is the role player where we show you guys how to get that property. We also go over the medications, not that you're going to be administering them, but we want you to understand them, right? So the virtual assistant is also given to you complimentary. Now, the $5 an hour, that's what you're responsible for. But to get the VA to you, the vet, the train and endorse the VA, that's on us. All right. So that's everything that's involved in it. Also, every course, every VIP community for the VAs, for the HRA, and for the one-on-one coaching, we also give you that. And again, our normal pricing for our coaching guys is $15,000. But 95% of people get that on scholarship at only $7,500. So again, if that's something that you guys want, all you got to do is text the word IMB to our team, to that same phone number, to the 407, the 326-0086. And our team will get you the information that you need to apply for that scholarship so that you don't pay the $15,000. Also, you guys can become affiliates of this stuff too. So big shout out to the lady that introduced us just recently to a church, and they actually paid the full $15,000. She got a 20% referral fee for that. So if I'm not mistaken, that's what was that $3,000 that she got in terms of just making a referral. So everything that we offer, guys, you all could actually become a referral partner of it. And we just wanted to make sure that you all knew that. Okay. So back to the coaching. I'm going to check the chat real quick. And again, if you want that ILF Master Blueprint, you guys can text IMB to that phone number. And also for Miss Ramona, if you're still in here, that ICC, Miss Ramona, consists of, because that's what you're in, that consists of the group coaching as well as one-on-one coaching. So that starts now. And also every Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday, this is also considered your group coaching, but you're also allowed to set up appointments with me, both group and personal. So we're also going to make sure that you're in that ICC Telegram group, that private group that you're privy to. We'll make sure that you're in that today. So make sure that you're paying close attention to your phone today, text message and email, and then we'll send that to you today. All right, so let's go back. And also just to make sure you guys can hear me loud and clear, correct? Let's see, it was something else I wanted to show you all as well. So right here, I want to talk about the two biggest myths that comes down to when people want to start these programs. The two biggest myths right is that you have to own the property and that you need a license. And both of those are absolutely not true. And we covered both of those today. But I wanted to answer that for the Sanchez family. The two biggest myths, again, is that you have to own the property and that you need a license. And I also want to make sure that I kind of give a little distinction without going super deep. A lot of you all are mixing up the license and permits, right? A lot of you all are mixing up the verbiage in terms of where you live at. Where I live at, it may be called something different. So when you guys hear me talk about you do not need a license to do this model, please understand what I mean by that is that this is not the same as that you would need for the requirements for an ALF, for a traditional group home, or a family adult daycare. Some of you all, in terms of where you live at, you guys can go and get a permit for like $35 that allows you to rent to people. We're not talking about that, guys. So don't get it mixed up when you guys hear me talk about you don't need a license to do this. I'm not talking about some permit that may cost you $30 or even $300. Not talking about that. I'm talking about that long, drawn-out process that most people go through to open a group home, an ALF, or that family adult daycare, anything to where you're taking Medicaid and Medicare dollars. So for the Sanchez family, you guys ask that as well. We do not accept Medicaid or Medicare. Our clients pay us through SSI or SSDI, and that is simply a Social Security income that they get every month without fail. Make sense? And right here, just want to talk about resident recruitment a little bit, and we go really deep on this in our coaching. But these are all the places that we're going to target: hospitals, mental health hospitals, drug rehab centers. And I'm going to make sure that I become friends with social workers, case managers, and discharge planners. Because remember, guys, that's what I used to be. So don't forget, man, I want you guys to watch that webinar so that you get all the information that you need. And then you're going to be able to speak to me by phone, me and my team, to figure out how can we get you started. I'm looking at the chat for any more questions or any more concerns. And then what I'll do is I'll let you guys go. And I hope that we gave a lot of great information tonight. I hope you guys watch that webinar and schedule your free discovery call. Because again, I want to make sure that we're able to, help you in terms of where you're headed, right? Also, don't forget that that scholarship is available. If you want the scholarship, same thing. Text the word scholarship to 407-326-0086. And they'll give you the criteria that you need to follow to get the scholarship. And it's really simple. Most people get it. Only people that don't want the scholarship is people that don't want to be advertised on social media, or they don't want their family to know, because a few of the steps are you have to follow us on social media. You have to give a 5-star Google review in terms of our information and what we offer, and just some other small things. But some people don't want to do that, and they just choose to pay the 15 grand. No problem with us. Right. But if you choose to do that and you want the scholarship to cut it down to 7,500, make sure you do that. Oh, and also, by the way, we've also been allowing people to split it. Right. So if you find a partner in this room, on this YouTube channel, or if you have a business partner already and you want to split it, you text us the word HALF, HALF, to that same phone number that we keep screaming. And that'll let us know that you got your half, but you want to go in with somebody else. So if you got your 3750 and you want to go in with somebody else to equal up to that 7,500, text the word HALF and let us know. And we'll be glad to help you with that as well. Okay. So again, back to the Sanchez family. This is what it looks like. You guys asked, this is 2 people per room, and 90% of people that we serve, this is the model that's going to work for them, which is the 2 beds per room. The guy that's got a job, or that military veteran, or the person that has a really high income, that's the person that typically wants their own room. Okay. And also our do-it-yourself version of the ILF Mastery Blueprint. So if you want the one-on-one coaching, that's what we just talked about. But the do-it-yourself version means that you get everything that I mentioned except for me as the personal coach. So all the paperwork, all the courses, all the ebooks, we still build your website. We still build your logo, and you still get a virtual assistant. This is actually only $2,500. And to be exact, it's only $2,497. But look what comes with it. All of the stuff that we talked about, right? And again, for only $2,497, you guys can either text DIY or you guys can scan that. And this is what our coaching is like. So every Monday, every Tuesday, and every Saturday, whether y'all buy anything from us or not, we're going to come here every week to give this game away, because that's what I promised God many years ago, that if he gave it to me, we would come back and give it to other people. and we wouldn't take any credit, right? So God is responsible for all of this. I make sure I say that every night that I come on so that y'all don't think that I made up all of this myself and I'm some genius. I only become the genius once God blows on it. And when God blows on it, it's an absolute no-brainer at that point. So again, if you love God, if you love people, and if you love real estate, this is it. Okay? So let me check the chat one more time. I'm also going to check the comments. Kenneth said, I truly believe that having a virtual assistant is 110% worth the money all day long. Me too, Kenneth. At $5 an hour, bro, that's an absolute no-brainer to get that VA. I absolutely agree with that. Let me see. I gotta get used to this Mac. How to scroll. Shay, how do you scroll down if I'm already like on a certain section other than just hitting the arrow? Like if I want the screen to go down.
Slide your finger across the map. Down, down, up and down.
Yeah, I'll get used to that in a minute. But anyway, I think that's pretty much it for tonight because I feel like a duck out of water on this computer anyway. So this is probably a great stopping point. So just one more time, I want you guys to make sure that you're following us at Forston Consultants on Facebook and Instagram. Follow me personally at Derrick Forston on TikTok and Facebook. Send me a friend request. So that way you guys can see a lot of the things that we're posting each and every day. Even when it comes to us posting to social workers and case managers, I'm showing you guys what to post. So just go ahead and become my friend. And then again, if you're interested in that coaching, absolutely let us know that as well. But other than that, I'm going to let you guys go. And then again, we're usually here every Monday and every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And then we're also here every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. All right. Thank y'all so much for following us in all of those other groups as well. And again, man, big shout out to everybody that came to the 2024 ILF conference. Again, if you were a speaker, attendee, if you were general admission, VIP, or elite, for me and my family both, we just want to say thank you all so much. We truly hope and believe that we gave you guys a 5-star experience. And again, if you can just do us a favor and go ahead and give us a 5-star Google review, we will also appreciate that. Whether you just enjoyed tonight or you actually came to the event and you enjoyed it but didn't get a chance to do that. But other than that, I'm going to let y'all go now unto him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ever ask or think according to God's power that worketh in us. Don't wait to be great, and we'll see you guys again sometime this week, probably between now and Saturday, but if not, for sure, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. You guys be great, and we'll see you next time.